So the CBA must be implemented in full. That is the position of KMPDU. That is the position of Dr. DAVJI ATELLA and Dr. Abiden MWACHI. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. I listened to what Susan NAKUMICHA, the CS for Health, was saying, especially going to an extent of saying that the CBA, the matter of the CBA is something that they have agreed upon between them, the ministry officials, and the KMPDU officials.
Our ministry, together with the union, we agreed to participate fully to give the conciliation and the information that they need so that then matters can be progressed. And we know one of the issues was on the CBA, and we agreed that it be progressed with the conciliator. As a ministry, we also discussed with the union on the progress on matters that are solely lie within the Ministry of Health. Because from the matters that they raised, there are those that should be handled by the Ministry of Health, and there are those others that we agreed they move on. So for the matters that need to be handled by the Ministry of Health, I'm happy to report that as a ministry, we have made very good progress. And one of the issues was on the internship program. So we have agreed that they are going to participate in the review of the internship policy that is currently ongoing, chaired by the DG, Director General, that they are going to participate fully so that then we review that internship policy, we ensure that it is aligned to universal health coverage, and it addresses all the emerging issues that we have had.
I also listened to this press statement from the KMPDU official led by Dr. DAVJI ATELLA, and behind Dr. DAVJI ATELLA, Dr. Abiden MWACHI was also stood there. Those are some of those senior officials from KMPDU.
We were in a conversation, a consultative discussion, and there is no any agreement that is there between us and the ministry on the internship policy, because we have not been told the problem with the current policy. So it is very difficult to have a conversation on a new policy where we do not know what is the problem with the current policy. And therefore, we have not even seen any document that showing that is a draft of the new policy. So we believe that interns that need to be posted should be pegged on the collective bargaining agreement, which is a court order, and the current policy that's in existence. Because we have also heard that there is a lot of discussion, there's a promise and conversation that there was a plan to reduce the salaries of interns, there's a plan to reduce the salary of doctors. And this is something we can't allow. And that's part of the reason why we are on this particular strike, because we want to protect the salary gains we got in 2017.
So if you look at what Susan NAKUMICHA said and what the KMPDU officials said, we can comfortably say that there is no deal. NAKUMICHA talked about there being a deal, and if you looked at, if you listen to her speech, then you can tell that she was trying to apportion blames to the Treasury, apportion blames to the SRC, apportion blames to the county governments, and saying that her role is just to post the interns. Because from the statement she released there, it's like she was saying that by the time if she manages to post the interns, atakuwa shamaliza part yake. I mean, that is what she was literally trying to say. And the KMPD officials are maintaining that that is not the end. I mean, this fight is still on. We have not agreed. So KMPD are coming out, and they have a right, by the way. KMPD officials have a right because walibembeleza watu kitambo. Now, it's either you fulfill the 100% according to the collective bargain agreement, ama no going to work for doctors.
There is some skeptical idea here where there might be some plans from the ministry that we don't know regarding this posting of interns. There have been some topics where they tried to reduce the salaries that these interns have been given. So also there have been this issue of reviewing the current internship policy. The big question comes there is, what is the issue with the current policy?
Something has also arose, especially from what DAVJI ATELLA was saying. There are people, especially when you go to a hospital, you find that there are people put on, white, we call them dust coats. Let me just call them dust coats because we can't call them any other name because they are not medics. There are people put on white dust coats. So when they do that, you can sometimes mistake them from doctors. I have seen that scenario so many times. There's a time I went to Kakamega and I saw that scenario. There's a time I also saw the similar scenario in Bungoma, whereby someone had put on a white dust coat, and then you could confuse this person na a doctor, whereas these people are not doctors. Susan NAKUMICHA is facing this issue firsthand. So what the KMPD officials have said in very, very many words is that hakuna deal. Hakuna deal. That is why I'd like to share with you this part of the speech from the KMPD. Perhaps if you didn't watch the press release, so just watch this part.
The industry policy, because we have not been told the problem with the current policy. So it is very difficult to have a conversation on a new policy when we do not know what is the problem with the current policy. And therefore, we have not even seen any document that showing that is a draft of the new policy. So we believe that interns that need to be posted should be pegged on the collective bargaining agreement, which is a court order, and the current policy that's in existence. Because we have also heard that there is a lot of discussion, there's a promise and conversation that there was a plan to reduce the salaries of interns, there's a plan to reduce the salary of doctors. And this is something we can't allow. And that's part of the reason why we are on this particular strike, because we want to protect the salary gains we got in 2017, the salary gains we got in 2011. Otherwise, if we don't protect them, then we know very well that the government are looking for mechanisms to actually reduce this. Because we've seen that happening with SRC, when last year, they actually put a proposal to remove our non-practice allowance. Probably these are the same review policies that want to be reviewed, which will take the intern salaries downwards. We can't accept that, and we can't discuss that. We have fully complied to the court order. And the court gave 6 orders, and I think it's very important that you read them. The 6th order told us to suspend the strike, pegged on the institution of a one nation approach. That order number 542 came before number 6. So we must have that meeting, agree on the issues that we have raised, have a return to work formula that suspends the strike. That's how the court gave that order, and the judge was very wise to put it as the last order. So we are not in contempt of any particular court orders. And again, I must say that if we don't have that one nation approach on the issues, it is us as a union who will take the government for contempt. Thank you.
Very well. That is a reaction from the KMPD officials. And from that reaction, if you manage to summarize, if you can take a deeper understanding of what the KMPD officials are saying, then it's point blank that hakuna deal between the KMPDU and the ministry. So Susan NAKUMICHA, the ball is in her court. I think this matter, if they attempt to reduce the salaries of doctors, like it's being said there, rest assured this is going to prolong the strike. If they attempt to cut the budget of those medical interns, it is going to prolong the strike. One thing they need to know is that KMPD officials, I mean, the body relies on some deductions from these pay slips. Some deductions from the pay slips. So if the government wants to do what it's planning to do, then that would mean it is trying to sabotage the body. There was a time, I think, when Uhuru was still in power. There was a scenario where there were plans to suffocate or to deny the NAT body funds. That time Sosion was still I think the Secretary General of NAT. So the government had planned to starve the body so that the body could be crippled, the operations could be crippled. That move saw certain offices of the NAT body closed down. So in this also confrontation between the two bodies, the ministry and the KMPDU, we might find ourselves in a scenario whereby now the government makes that move of trying to sabotage or starve KMPDU from, those kind of money, so that the body can be crippled. So this is some of the tactics which the government can use to try to cripple KMPDU. Because you remember, like the issue of NAT sometimes back there, the government of the day realized that the best thing to do is to introduce another body. Then that's why we found that there was Kupet. Kupet came so that NAT could be weakened. In this issue of KMPDU, we are also likely to see something of that nature. The government will always find a way of crippling a body like KMPDU. Right now, KMPDU is so strong and is fighting for the rights of its members, and the fight is justified. And I think the government realizes that KMPDU is winning this war. I mean, I call it a war because right now, ni nipe nikupe, kama hunipi sikupi. That is what is being preached there. KMPDU wanataka ile budget yote ambao walielewana according to the CBA yote, without any negotiation, because it has taken a lot of time. If they had done some part implementation, at least by now watakuwa wamekava kama 3/4 of the implementation, but since they chose to reject the whole of it, sasa now the force that is coming from KMPDU seems to be overpowering the ministry officials. So that's why you find that the CS NAKUMICHA has realized that the best thing to do is to apportion blames to the Ministry of Treasury, to apportion blames to the local government, to apportion blame to SRC. Of course, SRC is in charge of salary. We are not trying to say that that is not the case, but the ministry can adopt certain policies or can make proposals which can be endorsed by the SRC or by the Ministry of Treasury. When hospitals had not been paid for quite some time, the ministry intervened, and then there was a State House meeting between the ministry and the State House, which saw the government release certain money to these private hospitals, because the government owed these private hospitals a lot of money. So even in this case, despite the fact that NAKUMICHA seems to be saying that finance your docket yake, but she is fully involved because the ministry is hers. So she's the one who's supposed to fight for the ministry, so that the ministry works seamlessly without any interference as a result of funds, being short of funds. So despite the fact that she's trying to justify the fact that yeye sio muhusika kabisa na asilaumiwe kabisa, but she has a role to make sure that hizi finance zinapatikana as they are, because they do have cabinet meetings. And also, if I may go back to Susan NAKUMICHA's word, sometimes there, when I think was it in Kitale, there was a government official who had messed up, and Susan NAKUMICHA said that government official be transferred. Soon after she made that remarks, she also supported a remark by saying that this is a collective responsibility. That the government, they are working hand in hand. Like, if I'm a minister of health, I can assist on matters of Ministry of maybe Transport, Ministry of Internal Affairs. Yani, it's a collective government, because that is what William Ruto said. So if that is the case, then in this case, she should also embrace the same idea which she embraced by saying that it is a collective government. Because it's a collective government, that is why the KMPD officials have channeled all the blames on the ministry, because it's a collective government. So the CBA must be implemented in full. That is the position of KMPDU. That is the position of Dr. DAVJI ATELLA and Dr. Abiden MWACHI. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do you make from that long statement from the KMPDU official and what Susan NAKUMICHA said? NAKUMICHA seems to be saying that all is well. KMPDU officials are saying that we are still stuck and a luta continua. And the courts said stop the strike, but gave some listed some items which must be taken into consideration by the ministry. Then the last item was call of strike. So KMPDU officials are saying that since the first 5 items have not been addressed, then we cannot implement the last item, which means call of strike. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do you make of this position of the KMPDU and what Susan NAKUMICHA has said? Personally, I think the strike is still on and Susan NAKUMICHA still need to do more to be able to bail Kenyans from this tragedy. A tragedy which is alleged is of our own making. The ignorance is what has led to this problem. So perhaps if you're watching this video and have not subscribed, please take 1 second and subscribe to this channel. Give this video a like and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Until we catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.